Welcome to English Revived. Today, I want you to forget everything you've been told about learning English. Forget the endless vocabulary lists, forget the grammar drills, and forget the complicated explanations that make your brain hurt. Because the real key to understanding native English speakers is something completely different. It's not about how many words you know. It's about how your brain hears the language. When a native speaks, they don't pronounce every word clearly. They don't follow the textbook rhythm. They blend words together, swallow sounds, and sometimes change entire syllables without even realizing it. And if you try to listen word by word, you'll get lost every single time. But here's the secret most learners never discover. Native English isn't meant to be understood word by word. It's meant to be understood as music. Yes, music. Every language has its own melody, its own rhythm, its own emotional vibration. And when you start hearing English like music, not text, everything changes. You begin to recognize patterns without trying. You start predicting what's coming next. And your brain relaxes. That's when you truly start to understand fast English. Part 1: The Sound Map. Imagine English like a song. Every phrase has a beat. Every sentence has stress and flow. When natives say, "What do you want to do?" it doesn't sound like 7 separate words. It sounds like, "What do you want to do?" That's called connected speech. It's not lazy English, it's natural English. If you keep waiting for the full pronunciation, "What do you want to do?" you'll never recognize it in real conversations. Your brain will always lag behind. So the first step is to build your internal sound map. Not a list of words, but a map of how they sound together. Start shadowing real conversations, podcasts, interviews, movies, not just repeating the words, but copying the music. Say it with the same emotion, the same rise and fall. Because fluency lives in rhythm, not in rules. Part 2: The Brain Filter. Let's talk about how your brain processes sound. When you were a baby, your brain didn't care about grammar. It cared about patterns. It listened, it mimicked, it repeated, and eventually it recognized the meaning behind the sounds. That's exactly how you must approach English again, through immersion in meaningful rhythm. If you listen passively, your brain stays asleep. If you listen actively, your brain starts mapping patterns. So next time you listen to a native speaker, stop trying to understand everything. Instead, focus on 2 things: the emotion behind the voice, the rise and fall of the sentence. This simple focus will rewire your listening. Slowly, your subconscious starts catching common links. The way going to becomes gonna, or did you becomes didja. You'll start understanding even when you don't know every word. Because your brain doesn't need every word. It needs the rhythm. Part 3: The Emotional Layer. You see, English is not just about words. It's about energy. Every emotion has its sound: excitement, doubt, love, sarcasm. If you don't hear the emotion, you miss half the message. Native speakers communicate feelings as much as meaning. And if you can tune into that emotional frequency, suddenly English stops being foreign. It becomes alive. When someone says, "Really?" it can mean 10 different things. Excitement, confusion, suspicion, What tells you the meaning is not the word, it's the tone. That's why shadowing emotional speech is one of the most powerful fluency tools in existence. When you speak with the same emotion, your pronunciation improves automatically. You stop sounding robotic because you stop thinking about pronunciation, you feel it. That's the real magic. Part 4: Training the Ear. Here's a method you can start right now. It's called layered listening. Choose one short audio clip, no more than 30 seconds. On the first listen, just hear it. Don't pause. Don't translate. Let it wash over you. On the second listen, focus only on the rhythm. Where does the voice go up? Where does it fall? On the third listen, pay attention to the emotion. What's the feeling behind it? On the fourth listen, repeat it out loud, mimicking everything, even the breathing. Do this every day for a week. And by the end, your listening speed, pronunciation, and confidence will double, maybe even triple. Because you'll stop listening like a student and start listening like a native mind. Part 5: Thinking without translating. Let me tell you a secret about fluent speakers. They don't think faster than you. They just think differently. When they hear English, they don't translate. They feel meaning instantly. But you can train your brain to do the same. Start by using micro-responses. Instead of translating every sentence, respond with quick emotional reactions in English. Oh wow! Seriously? That's crazy. Yeah, I get it. These tiny responses teach your brain to stay in English mode. You'll notice your reaction time shrinking. Your brain stops switching between languages. Soon, English starts to feel natural, not foreign. Part 6: Identity shift. Here's something most teachers never talk about. Fluency isn't a skill, it's an identity. When you say, "I'm not fluent," your brain builds walls around your potential. But when you say, "I'm becoming fluent," the walls start to fall. You don't learn fluency, you grow into it. Try this exercise. Every morning, look in the mirror and say, "I am the kind of person who speaks English confidently." Your voice might feel silly at first, but what you're doing is reprogramming your identity. You're convincing your subconscious that English belongs to you. Once that belief is installed, everything becomes easier: speaking, listening, thinking. Because you've stopped being a learner. You've become a speaker. Part 7: Real-life training. If you can't live in an English-speaking country, bring English into your daily world. Narrate your actions in English. Talk to your phone. Speak to your reflection. Record voice notes describing your day. You're not practicing English, you're living it. The goal is not perfection. The goal is connection. Every time you express a thought in English, you strengthen your fluency muscle. And like any muscle, it grows through repetition. So stop waiting for confidence to arrive. Confidence is built by action, not by permission. Part 8: The shadow routine. Here's your 30-day shadow routine for understanding and speaking like a native. Day 1 to 5. Listen to 1 minute of native audio daily. Shadow it slowly, focusing on rhythm. Day 6 to 10. Repeat the same audios but now copy the emotion. Day 11 to 15. Record yourself. Compare and adjust. Day 16 to 20. Increase speed. Speak with flow, not fear. Day 21 to 25. Use random YouTube shorts or movie clips. No script. Try to follow the rhythm live. Day 26 to 30. Speak freely about any topic for 1 minute per day, without translation. By day 30, you won't just understand native speakers, you'll sound like one. Part 9, the fluency loop. Here's the truth. Fluency isn't a destination. It's a loop. You listen, you speak, you fail, you try again. Every mistake rewires your brain closer to native patterns. Stop trying to avoid mistakes, they are the doorway to fluency. Every time you feel embarrassed, you're actually improving faster. You can't learn confidence first, you build it through imperfection. Part 10, your English rebirth. So today, make a decision. Stop chasing more rules. Stop comparing yourself to others. Start training your ears and emotions. English is not a code to decode. It's a feeling to embody. When you start hearing it like music, speaking it with emotion, and thinking in it naturally, you've crossed the invisible line between learning and living. You're no longer a student. You're a communicator. You're alive in the language. That's what English Revived is all about. Every episode is a step closer to your true voice, the one that's been waiting to come out all along. So breathe, speak, feel. Because fluency doesn't come from memorizing. It comes from awakening. And today you've already begun.